This week, two staffers at FHM, Max Bereshenkov and Muntle Murosi, came under fire after Bereshenkov made a comment on his private Facebook account saying that white people who twerk should be subject to corrective rape. Murosi then followed up with that, and he said that rape could be fun given the right circumstances, like slipping a roofie into someone's Earl Grey tea. Sarah, you did an opinion piece on this issue just this week. What for you were some of the problems with the exchange that happened?
Well, Max said it's his private Facebook page, but he has about 840 friends, so how private is it? That's one issue. And the fact is, if he'd been an ordinary member of the public making a crass joke like that, this wouldn't have gone anywhere. But because he's the features editor of FHM, which is a very influential magazine for young men, when you have the features editor making a joke about corrective rape and sterilization, you have to wonder at what level is that reaching his audience? If that's the way he thinks, if that's what he thinks is funny, then what is the impact on his audience?
South Africans still in denial about the way that rape has infiltrated our culture and gained acceptance on a large scale?
Absolutely.
There seems to be this perception in South Africa that rape is something that happens when a guy with a gun breaks into your house, or it happens to poor people. Nice middle class people don't rape, and that is a problem.
Some people are saying that by saying that we can't make jokes about rape, you're infringing on people's rights. What do you think of that?
I read a very interesting piece on Jezebel about humor and inappropriate humor. And this piece was interesting because it said, these jokes are okay when the victim of the joke is the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that 100%. When the person you are mocking, when the butt end of the joke or the punchline in the joke is not
The victim.
or could not possibly be the victim of the rape.
The pair, Bereshenkov and Murosi, they released a statement on Thursday, and they said the media madness that was unleashed over the posting of our private, and do keep in mind that it was private, with all Facebook privacy settings set to friends only, and you mentioned
Yes,
that
all
they have
840 of them.
840 friends. This conversation was surreal in the sense that it received a lot more attention, social media reach, and established media buzz than actual cases of rape. We struggle to recall quite as much of a public outcry over the Zozo case. This is Duduzile Zozo, a lesbian woman who was murdered just earlier on this week. Twitter didn't rage, and Gareth Cliff hardly made wisecracks about it, and that is an issue we cannot help but raise. From a media law or ethics perspective, and I know that this is kind of a new area for a lot of people, are private interactions ever private? And say you have an account and you say views expressed on my own, can an employer still use what you say on your Facebook or your Twitter against you?
Absolutely. I think, like Sarah said, how private is it if you have 800 and whatever, friends? Also, how private is it if it's, as a whole, a public sphere where someone can go and screen grab something that you've just said and put it on Twitter, and then you're not just talking about your 20 followers or 200 followers, whatever the case is, you're talking about, duplicating like a certain number over and over again until its reach is just, who knows how many. And that's not a private space at all. That's a public space. Also, putting up a little disclaimer that says, I work for these people, but these views are my own, these opinions are my own. That doesn't protect you at all, because in the public sphere, your affiliation. I mean, there's just one golden rule when it comes to social media, really, and that's don't be stupid.
Yesterday, somebody raised a point. They directed people on Twitter to Muntle Murosi's website. He has a blog, which is filled with very sexist comments and pictures and very homophobic comments as well.
Right.
I'm assuming FHM never looked at that, because that surely would count very strongly against someone looking for employment.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I must say, I don't know what FHM's employment policy is, and because FHM is about making fun of things, they have huge features on being drunk in Durban, they have cleavage shots, FHM, let's put things in perspective, they're not a paragon of virtue when it comes to the noble values of discourse and sharing information. They're there for guys to have fun and to look at hot chicks in bikinis.
In their statement that they released, they also said that the media response was a witch hunt. And they did make the point that the Zozo case had nowhere near as much attention as this incident. Is this fair, Sarah?
The statement itself is completely true. This attracted far more attention than that terrible rape and murder. And from that point of view, yeah, I'd agree with them. But it's all about context. And if I were advising them, I would have said, say sorry, keep it short and to the point. Commit yourself to doing something to atone, something real, like volunteering at Rape Crisis. And it would have been a great opportunity for FHM itself to take responsibility for some of this, because they do perpetuate an incredibly stereotyped view of gender. So we need to understand it's less about the offence caused and more about what we choose to mock.
Yeah.
And the reason that original joke was offensive was that somebody was raped and murdered and had a toilet brush shoved up her 6 days before that joke was made. Corrective rape is real. It happens every day. And when you joke about things like that in that context, it stops being funny. And I think, Max and Montley have to take it on the chin and say, you know what, we live in a society where rape is real, where this kind of thing happens every day. It is not appropriate to joke about it. It never will be. We might, and maybe they'll get to a point where they don't do it in private either.